Well, welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Emtigo, with me like always is my glorious friend, Noah Bailey.
Hmm.
So, unfortunately, Noah still has not seen the Marvels yet. I, it happens, but I do recommend it.
And to be fair,
uh-huh.
I had plans
Uh-huh.
that got canceled by someone who was not me,
Right.
but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. I do recommend it, but it's fine. We'll review it next week. It's fine. However, uh, the Marvels wasn't even the best Marvel thing to come out on November 10th, so it's fine. So we're going to talk about Loki. And it's one of those things where you know going into it that you're going to like it. You liked the first season or the first, whatever it's a sequel to, and you're like, as long as it's at least half as good, you're going to love it. And yeah, it is. It's really good. It's
Yeah,
at least half as good, I'd say, as season one.
definitely.
What are your general thoughts on the season?
I liked it a lot. I like how we're kind of just going back in. It's like, all right, so like what worked? Loki was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The TVA was kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Do it again. Like do it again kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think there are definitely I think the mystery in the first season wasn't as great just because I feel like he kind of just knew stuff. So I think that took
Mm-hmm.
a little bit out of it because for
Yeah.
a while, like I remember Loki season one. I mean, it took like 5 episodes to even know what was going on, and,
Right.
which I mean, that's just part of a new kind of just world build, like a new place and everything. So now that we understand how the TVA works, who the people are, etc., it's like okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can't hide too much mystery, but there's still, you know, very varying degrees of
Mm-hmm.
mystery. But
Right.
it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a little like I didn't think I was gonna enjoy some of the newer characters as much as I did, but I mean Opie was awesome.
I love Opie.
Opie
He's
was great.
so good.
I like it just the way he like talked like that. Just the way he it personified exactly the kind of character he was trying to be. Like he
Mm-hmm.
sounded right, he looked right, just this like really smart, fast talking. Can I do that? Yeah. Do you know? It's like, yes. What would we have to do? We would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to do that? No. And I'm just like, why would you say that?
Like we could hack into
Like,
the system. You can? No, I thought you could. No, I can't. I can't do
right? Yeah,
that.
no, exactly. No, I just thought that was so cool, and I also think the idea of time splitting was actually really cool. I
Oh yeah.
wish, like, not to get too far, but I wish he had maybe figured it out a little bit sooner in the show. That would have probably added a few things, but
I kind of feel like, yeah, I thought the time slipping would be a bigger deal for more of the show,
yeah,
but it was only like the first episode and then the last two episodes.
yeah,
But yeah, I feel like he either should have learned to control it earlier, or it should have been affecting him the entire time. And like, you could still focus on Hunter B-15 and Mobius
mm-hmm.
and whoever else, doing stuff while Loki is like changing stuff in the past and future. I feel you could have shenanigans there and have it be interesting, but the way they handled it was fine enough.
Yeah.
Um, one kind of major complaint I do have with this season is I feel like the middle 2.5 episodes were not the strongest just by themselves, but also were kind of rendered completely irrelevant by the finale.
I mean, yes.
Because the entire season is focused on them trying to fix the loom. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
doing everything in their power to make it so that it can contain all these new branches. And for the first 4 episodes, me and my brother who were watching it together, we were both like, I like what is happening. I just don't like how we got here. It's not really explaining a
Mm-hmm.
lot super well. I don't really know what the loom is or where it came from or like why it's so important. Like, if it fails, what would happen? And like that was answered later, but I feel like those like the people who created it, who were there, should be able to express that a little easier. Um, I liked Brad fine enough, but I feel like him off screen becoming the celebrity and then him having this like weird altered temp pad that didn't really seem to matter in the grand storyline, and then teaming up with Renslayer, who also didn't get to do a lot in the show. Like, she was around and was doing bad things, but she didn't. It's her. We never really knew what her deal was for this season, and then she just kind of died. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's and left it. I guess technically, we'll see,
Yeah.
but probably. But yeah, I mean, and the thing too about, especially with Renslayer too, I felt like it was very like built up one way, and then just didn't follow up. Because like when it's the big reveal of, oh, you were actually he who remains his right hand, it was like, oh crap, now she's gonna like super lean into it and get extra evil. Like I was very prepared for that, and it was just like,
Yeah.
nah, you got the silent takedown. Like you just got taken out, and I was just like, dang.
Like,
That was
her squishing
underwhelming.
those people was brutal.
Oh yeah,
but it it almost felt like, not that it came out of nowhere, but I feel like her turn was very like very intense, very fast, and I kind of feel like she should have been like a bigger player for more of the series. Like she kept being like, "Oh, I leave for 5 minutes, and the entire TVA goes to crap." It's like that. It would have happened whether you were here or not. It's like,
it's that like egotistical
Yeah.
like loss of perspective. It's just
I
like,
guess.
dude, like this is a bigger issue than just you being around.
And
like
also,
clearly you didn't know what to do either.
right? And also Miss Minutes. I like her character, but I feel like the fact that she's just taken out by them just turning the system off and on again. It's like, you couldn't have just done that before.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, why didn't we do this last time? Also, when they reboot it, it's like, so she's not gonna be evil again, right? They're just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
should
really not.
Make sure she's not going to try to kill you.
Yeah, because I'm like, she could just re-kill you all. Also, I thought it was. I really don't like how they were trying to make it like Miss Minutes is jealous of Renslayer. Like,
that was weird.
Don't do this. Don't. Like, it didn't go anywhere, thankfully, but it was like, really, we're doing the whole computer wants to be a person thing. Like, I feel like we're always doing that. Like,
but because it didn't go anywhere, I don't know why it was here.
yes, but like I'm okay. It didn't go anywhere, but I kind of also don't love that it was even a thing.
Right.
It almost feels like it's like different people with different episodes, because it's just like that didn't seem to okay.
Yeah.
But it was kind of in the same episode still, so it was like whatever.
Yeah, and it's almost like Renslayer and Miss Minutes both were basically as evil as any given one scene needed them to be, because they weren't really malicious and they weren't really like actively like the devil until the squishing scene, and then Miss Minutes was into it. Like she was like
smiling. I
gleefully
can see
watching
it.
them die. Like that, I feel like that's not how she usually is.
I mean, she was definitely scary at the end of the last season. Like you could tell, like, oh, she's definitely evil.
Right, but I feel like not in that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess not maliciously, but
Like the characters that worked really well worked super well. Like I said, Obi. I even liked Mr. Timely more than I thought I would at first.
yeah, that threw me off.
Yeah. Obviously, more Mobius's interactions, everybody Loki's interactions. Sylvie didn't really get a lot to do, but I still kind of liked what they did with her.
Yeah,
I kind of wish they leaned into her being a Loki variant more this season instead of like mentioned once or twice, and then
that's what I'm saying. I keep forgetting that because she seems like such a different character.
yeah. And I guess that's kind of her path this season. Like she wants to try to forge her own destiny, but it just things still fall fall apart around her regardless, and like that's
At a McDonald's?
I don't know.
That made no sense. Like that made no sense to me. Like I was just so confused the whole time. Like I feel like if I wanted a normal life, but I had these powers, I would just do like I don't know, like the circus, magic or something. Not like McDonald's in 1983 or wherever they went. Like,
well, I mean, I think the idea again they didn't communicate this perfectly well, but I think the idea is that she essentially wanted the most mundane thing possible after running and through all these crazy scenarios her entire life. So just being a cashier at a McDonald's is definitely that.
yeah, but like, I mean, other than product placement, I don't see the point.
I do really love the little detail where it's like you could try our nuggets, our brand new chicken nuggets, like literally in 1984. I think there's like a year and a half old or something. Like it was actually within universe new. Like I like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And yeah, that's another thing that just the entire series nails super well is when they do go to a certain time period, like it feels like we're in that time period. Like all the references are spot on. Like that's I really I do appreciate that a lot. Yeah, like I feel like if the show didn't end as strongly as it did, and we'll get to that in just a second, I feel like I wouldn't love it. I still, like I said, I liked Loki and the other characters when they were interacting. I liked the ideas that were presented. I just didn't love there was quite a bit of downtime, especially episode 3 and 4, or no, sorry, 2 and 3. There was a couple of confusing plot points here and there, but then episode 5 and 6 were phenomenal.
No.
Yeah.
I really like the part where Loki's just like does it. He basically does it so many times for apparently centuries, which I'm just like, oh dear lord. But like he figures it all out, and he's like, yeah. He's like, how would you do it? Yeah, we'll just do this. But yep, that, and they're like, yeah, he's like, he's right somehow. Okay,
yeah.
Like,
Victor, do not put it down on. Do not put it down and roll off. Victor, do not.
That was probably hilarious when that happened.
Oh,
he did all this. He's got there. It rolled off. He's just like.
Or I was guaranteed, like the time after that, he hits the button and it doesn't go, and he's like, it didn't. Like okay, and then like it might be like we know all that like, and it didn't even work. Like maybe he has to hit it a couple more times, and this time it's like it might be a little sticky. Just keep hitting it. But yeah, it's just the music through for that scene, but really the music for the entire show was amazing. Like even in the scenes and moments that I didn't absolutely adore, the music was still just so good. That was something the first season also nailed, but this season just brought up to 11. But yeah, like him in episode 5 finding all of his friends in their points where they should be in time. Mobius being a jet ski salesman was a fantastic twist on where you thought that was going.
Yes.
Like so clearly obsessed with them, but not in the way you necessarily thought he was.
No, it was really cool. I also thought it was interesting how like the other guy was like an Alcatraz escapee. I was just like, that's all right.
That's you know how in season 1 it was revealed that what is his name? B.D. Cooper. Yeah, one of was revealed that Loki was B.D. Cooper, that one guy who hijacked a plane and then jumped in. Yeah, that's the same case with this guy. His name was Frank something. Like he escaped from Alcatraz and literally no one knows where he went.
He won. He won the game. He disappeared.
So in universe, he was just snatched by this time. He wasn't supposed to leave, so they just got him.
Hey.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Actually makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. And I really liked Hunter as a nurse. I just feel like that was I feel like that just I don't know. It seemed to just work really well for her character to originally be that. I feel.
Hmm.
Obi again, just amazing as a like he was basically the same character, just with a slightly different hyperfixation. It was great. He was just completely on board because like, yeah, this is like one of my books. It's like great, love
No,
it.
totally. Oh, you're a scientist? Oh, no, but I like the like all this
No, I'm a
stuff,
writer, but I did go to I had to. I
right?
got my PhD, but I had to quit that for like, oh, you went to have a PhD, okay.
It's so good, dude.
Mm-hmm. And then the finale,
Mm.
like, I literally like audibly gasped when when I first figured out what, because I actually figured out before my brother did. It was like, is he gonna form Yggdrasil, the multiverse tree? I was like, that is amazing. And yeah, like when the camera turned and it showed that's basically the new loom, it's like, oh, that is so cool.
It's pretty like you knew it was culminating to like some kind of sacrificial thing,
Mhm.
which yeah, but it was just like, oh well, that just ties a bow on it. That makes it way, and I think it's interesting too because is Loki just like the god of time now,
Pretty
basically?
much, yeah. I know in Norse mythology, one of his monikers is the god of stories, and that's kind of what they're going for with him. You literally like
Mm,
allowing all these different multiverses to tell their story, pretty much.
makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, and again, I just want to shout out the music, the score of him, walking, and it's the opening theme, but like this giant orchestral version of it. It's so good. Yeah.
Just yeah. You love
Oh.
it. That's always the best when they bring back the theme music, but like super amped. That's always the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I don't think this will be the end of Loki in the MCU. I think somewhere in Secret Wars he'll show back up because I don't know how, but I think I because I feel like Thor and Loki need to reconnect one more time. Like after
That
they've
would be
both been
so
through everything they've been through separately, they need to come back together one more time. You know? Hello?
Yep,
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I know Thor 5 is maybe happening. But if it is, I don't necessarily know if it'll be in that movie. But at some point, either Secret Wars or
Yeah.
the end of that movie, some point they need to reconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, they've gone through so. Especially Loki. He's not even. Well, it's weird because but it's hard because like it's not the same Loki that died in Thanos, but it kind of is.
Pretty much. It, it might as well be. Pretty much.
That's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like that's the kind of thing. It's like they basically caught him up, and then he went through similar trials and whatnot, more or
Mm-hmm.
less. So it's like close enough, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, he's
But
lived. He's technically, he said, literally centuries, like
there's
without
no
Thor.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, to have the patience to do that is ridiculous, bro. I mean, like that's you couldn't.
I mean, Thor said he was already 1,500 years old, so what's 1,000 more?
Nah, man. No. I mean, to be in the same spot
uh,
and die repeatedly, which I don't know if he feels it or not, but I mean, that's
like you
just.
never played a roguelike game?
I mean, not like that, not for that long.
I mean, when the fate of the universe is when the fate of the universe is at stake, I think I could beat out. I think I could figure out Binding of Isaac if the universe were at stake.
Maybe, I don't know. I'd probably be over. I'd probably be like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
um, but yeah, like I said, I wasn't 100% on board the entire way through, but just this legitimately might be one of the strongest endings of any Marvel thing ever to this point. Like, yeah, just basically this culmination of 14, 12 years of this character being in the MCU, and like this is how it, like not necessarily ends, but like this is for currently the culmination of his character. Just feels very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't. I hope this isn't the end of Loki, but if it is, as far as we see him, that's about as strong as an ending.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend it. Yeah, it's good. Um, Speaking of some other pretty good Marvel news, um, apparently, uh, according to new rumors slash stuff the directors have said, Vision Quest and Wonder Man are not dead, and we will resume production soon. So
Okay.
good. That's good. Wonder Man specifically is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi. He was originally tapped to direct Kang Dynasty, but he stepped away from that to focus on Shang-Chi 2 and Wonder Man. So, like, even though I feel like he would make a fantastic Avengers movie, like I know he can make a great Shang-Chi movie. So
Right.
that's fine.
Double down, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like knowing that Wonder Man. Again, I know nothing about this character, but knowing that this show is still happening is good. Same with Vision Quest. It's a show like Vision is again technically one of the oldest Marvel characters. We go all the way back to Jarvis and Iron Man 1, and I just want more Vision in the MCU. So if this is how we get it, then cool.
Sure thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also just very interesting that I know we talked a couple weeks back about that one Variety article just laying out every single thing that is wrong with Marvel at the moment, and I don't know if it's in direct response to that, but in the past couple of weeks, at least rumors and other reports have kind of debunked a lot of that. Like, according to credible sources, Marvel is not shying away from Kang. They're still determining whether or not they want to recast him, which I think, with how Loki ended, you could go either way with Kang. Like, now that Loki is holding stuff together, Kang may or may not.
You don't need it.
Yeah. And the TVA specifically focused on stopping Kang variants. Like, I think you could get away with just being like, we fixed it. It might be referenced here and there, but overall we fixed it.
Yeah.
But if they are to continue Kang Dynasty and other stuff, like, I like Jonathan Majors as an actor. I gotta clarify that because, at least for right now. But like, if they recast, that's fine. But I do think that if that is their vision for Kang Dynasty in future in a Secret Wars, then yeah, they should stay the course. So it's just interesting that this Variety article comes out. Everyone is saying that Marvel is doomed, and then Loki comes out and is like, "Oh, that was amazing," and then all this other news is like, "Oh, maybe that was not all correct." These shows uncanceled. This movie is not actually as bad as sorry, you're saying?
No, I mean, it's like it's the reaction culture because it just happens. Anytime anything comes out, it does well. Is this the greatest thing ever made? It doesn't do well. Is this the worst thing ever made? And there's no not bad, B plus. Like, there's just like everything's record breaking or the worst thing that's ever happened, and there's no in between anymore. It's just like, chill out.
That's exactly how I feel about the Marvels. I haven't seen it, but like, after a week of ruminating on it, seeing it a second time, I'm like, it's like a B. It's a fairly solid movie. I had a lot of fun. There are some issues that you'll see, but like, overall, I had a blast watching it. Yet some people are claiming it's the worst movie ever made. Like, what movie did you watch?
I feel like we're always doing this. Like the worst movie. I thought the worst movie ever made was like I don't
Catwoman.
know.
Have you not seen
Yeah.
Catwoman?
Okay, no, that's okay. No, that's actually the worst.
Like,
movie
you
ever.
want to complain about the Marvels having editing issues, which sure there are a couple of things here and there that maybe could have been like cut together a little easier, but Catwoman is just a mess.
That's the thing. I don't think a lot of these people probably haven't seen Catwoman.
Yeah. Probably.
'Cause if you've seen that movie, you have a respect for every other movie.
Yeah, like it. At least for me, that's still like a kind of entertainingly bad movie. It's good, not good at all, but it's at least like kind of funny to laugh at. But the Marvels, like, it's a pretty B plus solid movie. Like, I don't know, get over yourself, son. um, so yeah, I don't think Marvel is as doomed as people think it will be. We'll see how people's reaction to the Marvels box office wise will change stuff in the future. But currently it's doing not amazing, but like it could be doing a lot worse. So yeah, we'll see how as the holiday season progresses, how many more people will go see it. So yeah, I think overall Marvel is in a pretty decent place. The next thing coming out is the What If show, which I think they're doing a really interesting release schedule this time. Where I think
It's like one day, like December each.
yeah, I think it starts on the 22nd, and yeah, one a day until the 29th.
Yeah, there's like a Christmas episode. Oh,
Yeah, I
That-
dig that.
I'd also dig that. I think it's gonna be Happy doing a Die Hard, which I'm all for.
Yes, and again. Let me double check something. I think the Percy Jackson show is coming out on the 20th. Is that right?
I don't know. I forgot the dates.
Television series. Yeah, December 20th. Okay, so that's Wednesdays. So there'll be one episode of overlap technically, but they won't start on the same day, which that's all I ask. Just don't start on the same day. Don't pull a Miss Marvel Obi-Wan. What are you doing?
Jeez.
Okay, last little bit of Disney news. Apparently, Frozen 4 is also in the works at the same time as Frozen 3.
Huh?
Yeah, they're pulling a Lord of the Rings and making them back to back. I guess I don't know.
Oh boy, that feels pointless for so many reasons. One, it's Frozen, so it's gonna make money regardless.
Yep.
Don't like put them together. You don't need to. Two, why?
They just have so much story they want to tell in the Frozen universe. They need to split into 2 movies.
What else is there? I don't even know what. Like, I genuinely have no idea what else they could explore. They've explored the only like 3 plot points the concept even had. What, we're gonna get Olaf's history now? He's a snowman. He rolled him up. The end.
Yeah, I don't know. We've already explored the lineage of both parents. We've already explored multiple different facets of Anna and Elsa's relationship. I guess now we see how Anna and Kristoff are ruling the country, and then nope, I got nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not a movie writer, but I don't know what that. How do you make 2 movies out of that?
Could you make a movie out of that? Absolutely. Does that need to be somehow made into a 2-part like movie, 2-parter somehow? Absolutely not. No. I mean, I don't. That seems incredibly unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
It's really for like what? Like you're like, what do you do? Like, you don't need to. You can just make 2 different movies and make more money that way. I feel like.
Well, there's no way Disney can make more money than releasing multiple Frozen sequels. No other movie they could make will make as much money. As
No,
Frozen.
but like, why would you release them together?
I mean,
Or
they
like,
wouldn't. It wouldn't be like.
I mean, not release them together, but like, why? I mean, I guess why work on them together when you could just make them one at a time and just get your like every 3 years, just get your giant bag of money.
Well, I don't see you complaining about them making Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse back to back.
Well, first of all, that's different because A, that's actually necessary. B, I mean, those aren't. I mean, financially speaking, those don't make as much money because people love singing snowmen for some reason. So, like, I don't know. I guess I'm not objective about Spider-Verse. I'm objective about Frozen because I don't care about Frozen. But I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. They can do what they want to do. But I mean,
it was very funny. Like Frozen 4 is in the work. It's like, did we miss a movie?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, did I forget something? Like, did we just not? It was like, what? Four? I could have swore there was just two of those. Like, but again,
like we were already 4 years out from Frozen 2. Probably going to be another year or two before Frozen 3 comes out.
At least.
Then I guess they just want to make sure that gap is smaller, so it's only a 2-year gap or something.
I guess, but is that really necessary?
I mean,
like, don't get me wrong. I mean, if it's like a 10, like, don't do an Incredibles 2, but I mean, like, yeah, but I don't know.
I do think that Frozen 2 is a way inferior movie to Frozen 1. It looks better, but the plot line is kind of a mess.
Although, I think Frozen 2 actually had stakes and Frozen 1 kind of didn't.
That's fair.
That kept me more engaged personally.
The stakes were a little confusing. But
that's true.
But they did technically exist.
Yeah. The characters understood the stakes, which was enough for me.
Yes. Although I feel like Arendelle probably should have just gotten flooded, or for the I don't know. I feel like there's a couple of things that are like foreshadowing the castle town getting destroyed, and then actually we're gonna save it in the end. I don't know. I feel like whatever. I'm not here to review Frozen 2, but like, but regardless, I feel like I hope that they don't rush these sequels and just make out 2 more mediocre sequels to a kind of decent movie. They're gonna make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, regardless. But I would rather them be great movies as opposed to just thrown out there because Disney needs some extra money to pay for a new theme park expansion or something.
I mean, again, how they do it doesn't really matter, I guess. I guess it's just weird to hear that because it's just kind of like, why? But I don't know. I mean, then again, they're making $1 billion children's movies. I'm not, so what do I know?
Right.
But who knows? Maybe that's the key somehow. The kids will get excited. I don't know.
Sure.
Twice the toys.
So many toys. So many clothing products, pillows, blankets, backpacks, so much stuff.
All of them. Billions of dollars.
Okay. Moving on to the next topic. So, Warner Brothers Discovery has been on a little bit of a tear recently of just canceling projects that are done just so they can have a tax write-off. They did it with, obviously Batgirl is the biggest example. There were other shows on HBO that were basically done. They just shelved new seasons. Their entire shows, they just wiped from existence just so they can make, I don't even know how tax write-offs work in this scenario. I really don't know how that worked, but it does somehow. And one of those movies was a new Looney Tunes movie called Coyote versus ACME. A movie directed by James Gunn, starring John Cena and a bunch of other great actors, where it's Coyote, of Coyote and Roadrunner fame, suing the Acme Corporation because all of their products keep failing him. And it's like kind of like a Looney Tunes Back in Action type thing, where it's like hybrid animated and live action together, and like Acme is like a real company in this universe. That's so funny. But it was on the chopping block to be erased from existence until so many people were like, not even, it wasn't even just fans who were complaining about it like they did with Batgirl. Literally, filmmakers were telling their agents to cancel meetings with Warner Brothers in response to all these canceled projects. Yeah. Like literally, I don't remember who it was. One person was like, I don't feel comfortable working with him if there's a chance that my movie, mere weeks before being released, is just shelved for no reason. Like, I can't run that risk, so I'm going to go somewhere else. So Warner Brothers is like, yeah, okay, so we can't release this movie legally because we already took the tax write-off. So the plan is to shop it around to other distributors like Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Netflix. So it will get released somehow, which I think is good.
Yeah, no, that's good. I don't know who's gonna get it and how it's gonna go, but no, it's really good that they actually like are gonna make it happen, because that just would have been gone forever.
Yep. My hope is Amazon, just because I have that, and I'm probably going to cancel Netflix soon because I don't really watch much on Netflix anymore. And again, I know I've said this before, but Apple TV Plus feels like like everything that goes on there is like, oh, that's a fake show. Oh, there's a new Godzilla origin show on Apple TV Plus. No, there's not. It's not real.
That's not real. That's not happening.
I think I'd be really interested in watching, but I'm not. That's not real. I'm not kidding.
No, it's not. Like, I'm not getting swindled. Like, it's like, it's just like, I mean, like, it's what, because again, I don't think I know a single person who's Apple TV Plus, like, at all.
Like, I've heard a lot of people say they've watched Ted Lasso, but what else have they seen on this platform that they've supposedly watched Ted Lasso on? Like, I don't.
Like, that's the thing, because like I've also heard that, but I'm like, who watched? Like, I'm convinced people just watch clips. I don't think people actually watch the show.
Like, I'm sure if I had it and paid the $15 or whatever it is to watch it, like, I'm sure I would find stuff to watch. But like, I'm not paying for another service right now. Especially not just to watch this Coyote.
No, definitely not.
No, so hopefully Amazon. But
Amazon does seem like a good place for it too.
And they also have a contract with Warner Brothers to make some like, especially specifically Batman shows. They're making the Cape Crusader show, so maybe there's a chance if they buy this, they could also scoop up Batgirl. Maybe.
There's an idea.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. I don't think that movie will be fantastic, but I think it's something that was finished and deserves to get seen, if for no other reason than just for the people who were in it, just to say they were in it, you know? Speaking of movies that I feel people shouldn't admit they were in.
Oh no.
Madam Web.
Yes!
Is a movie that no one asked for.
No.
No one, the entire time this movie has been in production, everyone's like, why? Why are these people attached to this movie? What is this movie even gonna be? Who the heck is this character? Like, what is this? And then the trailer comes out, and it's like, oh, they just made Morbius again.
But it's kind of worse. Like, it looks kind yes, like first of all, the costume, bro's costume looks it's
What are we
CW budget,
what are we
bro. I mean
doing?
that looks
Like,
rough. That looks rough. I'm like,
right?
uh-uh.
Uh,
He looks like Ragman from Arrow. Like that's not.
uh,
They just don't. No, you can't, man.
uh,
It's not gonna work.
the trailer, it's I was kind of joking but also not really. It is literally
Not
structured
really.
exactly like the Morbius trailer. The way
Yeah.
the Morbius trailer was structured, like it has this somber version of a popular song playing in the background of like confusing moments of this character like learning their powers, and then like, oh, the villain's there, and like they fight, and then it cuts to a joke, and then they fight some more to the sad song, then it cuts to a joke, and then Morbius, and then like a stinger joke that no one laughed. It was like, come, that's exactly what this trailer was. But yeah, like you said, kind of worse.
Yes, and like a lot more. It's just weird because it's just kind of like it makes no sense, and they try like it seems like the kind of thing where it's like how, like you have that everyone has that friend who like they'll say something crazy and everyone looks at them and then they try to explain it and it just makes you sound more crazy.
Yep.
It's like you're not helping yourself. That's how this trailer feels. Because the longer the trailer goes on, the trailer's trying to like, no, but see, she gets her powers from that. That doesn't make any sense. Well, see, no, that guy's the bad guy because her mom saw him when they was hunting spiders in the jungle somewhere.
What? You can't just say that.
Huh? Like what? Who? Like what? Like it doesn't even make any sense. Nor does it explain anything you've previously shown me. I have now more questions than I originally had going in.
Right.
With less answers and more problems.
There's multiple Spider Women.
And they all look bad, and like no one cares. And like it's like the only thing worse than a movie about a character no one cares about is more characters in the movie about a character no one cares about. Like you think anyone's gonna know the name of like random Spider Chick number 3? Like, bro,
no.
What are we doing?
I'm sure they're all. I'm sure they all are previous. Actually named Spider Women or Spider characters. Who cares? Also, not to mention, this Madam Web is specifically going off of like the 2012 reboot of the character, who's like a teenager or like a young adult who can like see the future by looking at other time. Like, how does that even work?
No, it doesn't. Like, and it's like dumb. Like, I don't like. Who cares? Again, like, who cares? And like, I don't know. I feel like this trailer also had like the same 4 scenes replayed multiple times, and it's just kind of like, man, like I've never been so bored watching a trailer. Like an hour and a half of this, I might actually just walk out. Like I can't.
I mean, hopefully, like if it does follow Morbius and Venom 2, it only will be an hour and a half. Hopefully, like I feel a Madam Web movie where you essentially have her like kind of like the Watcher from What If, where she's like observing the whole Spider-Verse from her chair and like watching stuff happen, and like she sees the same thing happen over and over again in multiple timelines, and like eventually decides to intervene. I feel like that could be interesting, but instead, like she gets these powers in this weird way, and then somehow is magically connected to these other spider people who are all in her same universe. I don't know. It's so dumb.
Yeah, and I mean, the internet also knows exactly how this is gonna go because they're doing the Morbius thing where they're just making up lines that were said in the comments. And some of them were just amazing. And I'm just like, oh yes.
This one fantastic meme where it was Poe from Rise of Skywalker's like, somehow Palpatine was with my mom in the episode.
But like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's just kind of like the movie's not even out yet, and we are all in unison collectively, just like this is gonna be garbage.
Yes.
No, I mean, like, no, the guy's like, I love the part where he said, "I'm somewhat of a Spider-Man myself." I had chills. Like, bro, I can't, dude. Like, These are so stupid, but it's
So
so funny.
good.
Oh my gosh. She said, "I'm Ray Webwalker." Like, I mean, oh my gosh. I don't know, man. This is just like,
Oh.
it's like you see someone go into the garbage can, pick up trash, put it on a plate, and then put like a little like tin on it, and then walk it to your table, and you're like, "I'm not eating that." No, but it's good. I'm not eating
I
that.
didn't
They
ask for
open
that.
it.
I know
Yeah,
you didn't, but
I'm
I
not. I
know
don't
you'll
want
like
that.
this. I don't. No, I won't. I won't.
I'm
Like
not
it.
gonna eat that. And then they bring it to your table. Be like, if I bring it to you on a plate, you'll eat it. I
Right?
promise you, I won't.
This
And then they
this
do, and you're
plate
like,
is
yeah,
gonna
I'm
make
not eating
so
that.
much money. It's not gonna make any money. What are you doing?
Like, this is a terrible idea. No one thinks it's a good idea. Don't do this.
Corporate thinks it's a great idea. Well, corporate is
Doesn't care.
Corporate's run by a bunch of fools if they think that's the case. What are we doing?
Oh my god. Dude, I can't.
So I
Man.
heard
The
you wanted
internet.
to eat a cheeseburger. So we're gonna give you a cheeseburger without the burger or the cheese. We're gonna give you lettuce. That's what all you get. We're gonna give you the lettuce, maybe a tomato, with some mayonnaise on top and mustard. That's what you wanted, right?
Someone said, "Why does Sony consistently show the entire movie in the trailer?" The guy in the pile said, "Because they already know no one's gonna actually go see
Right?
this, so I'll just show you the story."
Like we can't have Spider-Man in our movie, so our trailer is going to be full of people that kind of look like Spider-Man, but are clearly not actually Spider-Man.
Clearly not. It's like not even like no. Just no. Just no.
Oh, it's so
It's so
funny.
bad. But it's like, how are you this bad on purpose? Kind of bad. Like you didn't like. It's one of those things where it's kind of just like there has to be some other reason. Like you can't. No one made this movie thinking this was going to be a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
The people in the movie know this is going to be a bad movie. The people writing, the people like this has to be some kind of agreement. Like we have to make this many character movies, and we ran out of characters. Like this is terrible.
With your fourth movie, with two of them being Venom, how? What are you doing?
I don't know.
Like,
but again, we're here. I don't know.
There are so many Spider-Man characters. Like Agent Venom would have been fun. Even I would accept Big Wheel before Madam Web.
Oh, Big Wheel. I know you're right, but like I don't know, man. We're here. We are somehow. Like I don't know.
Like every single person who's in this movie needs to fire their agent. Like especially Sydney Sweeney. She is just after Euphoria. She's just been in nothing good for the past several years. Like what are you doing, girl? Like at least I don't know.
No idea.
It's coming out in February, so add it to the list of superhero stuff to watch next year. You know, we're not going to get much like actual Marvel stuff, so you know, Madam Web and Kraven and Venom 3. That's what you get. Oh, and Spider-Verse 3, which is actually going to be good. But don't let that distract you from the other Sony stuff that's not going to be
good. Don't worry about that. That's animated.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
Like it's. I know the animation and the live action studios are technically different within Sony, but the fact that Sony allowed Into the Spider-Verse to exist in its perfect form, and then also made Morbius and Venom 2 and all the other crap, like what are we doing?
No idea, man. I just you know,
like before,
it's stuff like that makes you remember. You know what? Maybe the Marvels ain't so bad. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like how could you possibly say the Marvels? I know you haven't seen it, but trust me, it is not worse than all this. Like there are other like Marvel movies that have come out even like within this past year with Ant-Man 3 that are worse than the Marvels. I don't know why. Like with this Sony stuff also being in the mix, it really does kind of give the similar vibe that like the mid 2000s had, where it's like, yeah, the couple X-Men movies are really good. The couple of Spider-Man movies are good. There's some things here and there that are decent, but then just a lot of crap. We got the Fantastic Four movies. We got Catwoman. You know, even the Superman movie is fine, but not amazing. And then even the stuff that is working, like X-Men, started to not be great. Same with Spider-Man. Oh, we're gonna reboot this, though. That's not good either. It's like, oh, Daredevil, just Hulk, everything was just.
Oh gosh, Daredevil. But yeah, I mean, you know,
kind of giving us some more vibe here. Like, you think you could just release whatever, we'll buy it. No, that's not how it works anymore. So yeah, bring Valentine's Day next year. Go see Madam Web. I guess.
Oh my god. Why? But I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely won't be at the top of my list of most anticipated things of next year. What will be is Dune 2, which has been moved up to March 1st of next year.
Yay!
Good. Very good. It'll be something to clean your palate if you have seen Madam Web. Only 1 week and then Dune 2.
There's only so much calorie peeling after willingly consuming garbage, but I mean, that's on you. But no, I mean that I'm actually, that is a movie I'm actually very excited about, as most should be, because
yeah. Like I was in the position this year where I was like, if it comes to November and I only have time to watch either Dune or the Marvels. Sorry, I'm watching Dune. That first movie is so incredible. I have to watch the second one on the biggest screen possible. Like, it is. Oh.
And again, the way it's set up, bro. Like, they literally had it like all the exposition. There was a lot going on. They did a lot. You know what I mean? It was one of those like, wow, a lot's happening, but it's not really doing much. It's like, now it's all the payoff stuff, which is really exciting.
It's sad that it did get delayed due to the various strikes, but fine. Like, the movie is done. They could release it whenever. I guess they just decided March is just the best month to do it in, which I probably agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because more recently February has been a pretty decent month to stuff.
I mean, nothing's coming out on Valentine's Day. You might as well do it then. Let's be real.
Warner Brothers could do the funniest thing ever. It'd be like, oh, we're gonna move it up to the same day. It's like, that.
Might as well.
Put you in your place. I mean, what are you doing?
No one's gonna see that movie. Like the only people, like they would go in to watch Dune, get into the wrong theater. The movie starts. Oh, wait a minute. Yep. Get up and leave. Like, that's.
Does the movie have Zendaya in it? No, it does not have Zendaya in it. Okay.
It does not have Zendaya. Well,
it has another girl from Euphoria. Like, I don't care. Yep. So yeah, March 1st. Looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Okay. Before we move on to our next major topic, is there anything else from this past week you want to bring up or discuss?
Not really. Not really. Just
there has been a bunch of random rumors and other stuff about casting for Fantastic Four and other stuff, but like I don't want to get into it until it's like actually confirmed. So,
that's fair.
We'll probably by the end of the year we'll have our cast, but right now I just need to make sure that it's real before I really get excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so time to move on to our predictions for the Game of the Year Awards 2023.
Woo!
So let me share my screen real quick here, if I can just do that and that. All right, so let's start with the most anticipated game, because all this stuff here, do not care. I do not care about esports. The content creator of the year is none of these people I knew. So this whole row is we're we're not doing that. But
They have coaches for esports.
yes, they have coaches for
Wow,
esports.
that is a lot. All right.
Yeah, and like each esport person has like their own nickname, and the coaches also have nicknames. It I respect it, but I don't get it. It's not for me. so, so starting off with the most anticipated game of 2024. So the nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. I know my personal vote is Hades 2.
Hades too.
I put I've put probably 300 hours into Hades 1. Probably more than that. It's a roguelike game where you play as the son of Hades, and it's your job to like test the security of like multiple levels of the underworld, and like at the end you fight your dad. There's more story too, but that's like the main idea.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't throw this out there very often for any media, but it legitimately might be a perfect video game. It is.
Whoa.
It is like top tier stuff. Like, oh, did I turn that off there?
I have heard that. I will say I have, because like some of my friends are also really big on this game. So I know I've heard. Like, I've never played it personally, but yeah, a lot of my friends who I trust their video game prowess, they were like, "Nah, it's like that."
Yeah, it's one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised if it's like not your cup of tea, or you don't like get into it right away. But like, if you do, once you start to understand the mechanics and like how things work together and like how enemies fight, like and then after you beat a certain number of times, you can like change things to make it harder or different, and that makes it different every time. It's good. Do you have the nominations pulled up on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna do this. So Hades 2 gets my vote, although I have a feeling Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is gonna win, because Final Fantasy VII 1
Yeah.
was, one of the most anticipated things since the original game came out. People have been anticipating a remake forever, and the sequel looks good. These other games are also pretty exciting. I know you're a Tekken guy.
I'll be honest. I don't really mess with the newer Tekken, honestly, because like I'm like a PlayStation 2 Tekken guy. Honestly, I'm not really into the newer ones.
Right.
Doesn't feel the same. But yeah,
it looks good. Star Wars Outlaws, that remains to be seen.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I feel like that can't really be. Because like, have we seen anything from it really?
You've seen a trailer and then like a brief gameplay of it. It looks like a Ubisoft game. Take that what you will.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm sure it will be at least decent, but I don't know. I don't really trust Ubisoft to make fantastic games at this point. Like, some of their games are good, but like, I don't know. It's not one of the things where it's like, oh, Ubisoft is making it, so it's gonna be, the game of the year. That is
right.
It'll be fine probably. And then a new Yakuza. Those seem to come out every year now, so I'm sure it's gonna be good, but it's gonna come down between Final Fantasy and Hades for sure. I'm gonna vote for Hades.
Fair.
Okay. Next, best adaptation: Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo movie, Last of Us show, Super Mario Bros. Movie, or the Twisted Metal show.
I mean, I heard. Okay, first of all, not Gran Turismo.
Have you seen it?
Just putting that out there. No, but I mean, no.
Yeah.
No.
No. Same with Twisted Metal. I've heard no one talk about Twisted Metal.
No, I mean, Like for me, for me, I think it's between Last of Us and Mario. I think Last of
Yeah.
Us was really like. What do you think?
I think I think Last of Us is gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mario, yeah, it is definitely between those two. Castlevania, I've heard some good things about. I've seen the first Castlevania Netflix show. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then like this is like the sequel show to it, and it's again I heard it's good, but not as big of a success that Mario was, or not nearly as
Mm-hmm.
good as anything The Last of Us. And The Last of Us usually wins Game of the Year stuff, so
Right.
like
Right. And I think also people just like Pedro Pascal, like you know what I mean.
yeah,
But
which is fair.
yeah, so that's my yeah. I think
Mm,
personally, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think Last of Us does a better job as an adaptation because I
mm-hmm.
mean a lot of the stuff is shot for shot, but I
Yeah,
think Mario is just too iconic. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
I
Mario.
I
Like,
I agree. I do think I think if we're just going off the category itself as best adaptation, The Last of Us is the best adaptation. Like it is, like you said, one to one. They changed some stuff here and there, but overall, it is the most. It is the best representation of what that game is. So,
mm,
yeah, I'm gonna personally vote Mario since that's the only thing I've actually seen. I've actually
that's
watched
good.
all of Last of Us, but I think The Last of Us is gonna win.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, best multiplayer. Baldur's
I
Gate
mean,
3. And if at any point you need like me to try to explain the best I can what any of these games are, just let me know.
okay.
Baldur's Gate 3, Last of Us 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, Mario Bros. Wonder.
So I've heard good things about Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes,
Like very big things.
absolutely.
But I've also heard very big things about Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yes. I've heard fantastic things about Baldur's Gate 3, Street Fighter 6,
Mm,
and Mario Wonder. Diablo 4 is a game I thought would be a lot bigger than it was. It just kind of came out and then people I guess they're still playing it, but like I feel Diablo 3 made a much bigger splash and now almost 10 years later Diablo 4 is just kind of around. Um so that's interesting. Party Animals is a party game. Street Fighter 6 is a very solid fighting game.
mm.
Here's my logic for what I'm going to vote for. I think
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3 is absolutely going to win. First of all,
Okay.
spoilers: Baldur's Gate 3 and Mario Wonder are both of those games are on the Game of the Year, like on the Game of the Year
Yeah.
list. So those two is one of those two because that's just how this
Yeah.
works.
Has to be. Yeah.
I think that's a little dumb, but that's just how it works. However, I think of these games, if we're going off the category itself, I think Diablo 4 might be the game that best represents a multiplayer experience.
Really.
Party
Okay.
Animals, it's a party game. Like you kind of need multiple people to play it, but I feel like they're not going to take that seriously. Street Fighter 6, yes, it is a fighting game and like that inherently does have multiplayer, but I feel like there is a single player mode, and a lot of the multiplayer is online matches, which I think isn't exactly what I don't know. I feel like
Oh.
it's a multiplayer game the same way that like Call of Duty is a multiplayer game. Like yeah, there are multiple people that you play against, but I feel like in the spirit of the category, it's not like that. Mario Bros. Wonder is a very, very good single player game that you can play with couch co op friends. So it's between Baldur's Gate 3 and Diablo 4, which again, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. And again, that game has fantastic drop in, drop out multiplayer of like couch co op on the same console. And it's essentially the same way. Oh, if you're if you're playing D&D with your friends and in one session one of your friends doesn't show up, you can still play it relatively still play it. However, you can play that single player. Diablo 4 pretty much necessitates that you have a party with you at all times. Like, it's not as important as, from what I understand, it's not as important as even Diablo 3 to have a party, but I still personally feel like having, playing with other people makes the game the most fun. Like, the gap in fun is way bigger than these other games. Did that make sense? Hello?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, I get I understand your reasoning. I don't think that's how the voters will see it.
No, absolutely
At
not. Baldur's
all.
Gate 3 is good.
But I mean, yeah. But I now that you've explained your reasoning, I kind of get it.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna vote for Diablo 4, but it's gonna be Baldur's Gate or Mario, but it's gonna be Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite category: best sports racing game.
Oh, jeez. Are we actually doing this one?
I just find it very funny because usually it's like 3 sports games and like an arbitrary racing game, but this year, EA Sports Club is the only sports game. So that
tells you everything.
Right, and then yeah, just a bunch of other racing games.
Wait, there's a Hot Wheels game?
Yeah, it's apparently pretty good.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an arcadey style racer where you like race on like the orange like loop-de-loop track.
Oh heck yes!
Yeah,
that wins by default.
Right?
Oh yeah, just nostalgia alone.
Yeah, Forza Motorsport's gonna win just because Forza's a bigger name in gaming, but I think it should be Hot Wheels because that's the funniest.
I mean, that's awesome.
Okay, next up, best sim strategy game.
Okay.
Advance Wars, City Skylines was basically Sim City, but a different person made it. Company of Heroes, I don't really know much about that. Fire Emblem Engage and Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 was one of the best games released this year. It should win this category.
Okay.
Like, it's one of the games I haven't played. I never really got into the Pikmin series as much as I would have liked, just because it was way too stressful for me.
It's fair.
The day-night cycle and just having your army of Pikmin just die to who knows what, I couldn't handle it. But from everything I've seen from gameplay, all the reviews I've watched, all the people who just love it, like Pikmin 4 seemed to be the culmination of the entire series up to this point, in a way that Fire Emblem Engage definitely wasn't. Advance Wars is a very solid game, but it's a remake of games that are already on the original Game Boy Advance. City Skylines, like if you're into city builders, I'm sure it's for you, but I think Pikmin 4 deserves to win at least one category, and this is one of the 2 that it's in, so I think it should be Pikmin 4.
Yeah, and I feel like the competition in this one's not exactly steep, so I think it should have this one.
Yeah, unless all the people who are voting are just insane Fire Emblem fans, I think it should be Pikmin 4.
Ooh.
Which I don't think. Oh no, I didn't vote for a Company of Heroes. No, change that. Hang on. There we go. Okay, best family game. Basically, the Nintendo category, Mario wins.
Yeah.
There's no point even looking at the other categories.
I mean, one of these is gonna be, in the running for Game of the Year, and so well.
Yeah, like this category was literally made for Mario Odyssey back in 2017, so it's going to be Mario Wonder. It's like we don't feel great about giving Nintendo as much recognition as we should, so we're just gonna make a best family game and throw a bunch of Nintendo or platformer games that wouldn't go anywhere else. Like Sonic Superstars, I'm sure it's a fun Sonic game, but it released 3 days before Mario Wonder, so everyone forgot about it. It's Mario. It's Mario Wonder.
Yeah, that one's not shaking.
Best fighting game. I've never even heard of God of Rock. I've never even heard of Pocket Bravery.
No.
I'm sure Nick All Star Brawl 2 is fun, but it's between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and it's gonna be Street
I,
Fighter.
yeah. I mean, that one's pretty. I mean, I don't know, I've seen some things for Mortal Kombat 1 or whatever, but not
Like
really.
it's cool. Like the DLC characters are fun. Omni Man being there is fun, but like it's not. Street Fighter 6 again just seems to be like we took every single criticism that people had of Street Fighter 5, everything we built that game up to be eventually, and then made it even better. So I think Street Fighter 6 easily has this. Whereas apparently Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
1, there are some features from 11 that aren't in it, and like some things that people are a little disappointed in. So I think Street Fighter clears here.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. I have a bone to pick with this next category.
Okay.
Best RPG.
Oh boy.
So
Oh.
I knew going into this year that the best RPG category would be a mess because there were so many fantastic RPGs that came out this year alone. Without even looking at the list off the top of my head, Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Octopath Traveler, Disgaea 7, Final Fantasy 17. If you want to include Fire Emblem, Sea of Stars, Starfield, like so many, just so many, and so many very different RPGs came out this year. And I just knew that they were going to make just RPG and have Baldur's Gate 3 be on that list next to Final Fantasy 16, next to Starfield. And obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win in that category with this selection of games. Mm-hmm. However, the way the ones they actually picked, every single game is technically in a different genre. Baldur's Gate 3 is like a classic, I guess technically a classic RPG. It's basically like you're playing D&D.
Right.
Final Fantasy 16 is basically like an action JRPG.
Yeah, Final Fantasy games are not really role playing games anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Lies of P is a Souls-like Bloodborne clone.
Oh, jeez.
That I don't really know how that's an RPG. Yeah.
These days, as long as there's like a class system, it's an RPG. Even if it's not, like it's all the same thing. Because I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like saying like Jedi Survivor or something because there's different like forms as an RPG. Because it's like, oh, you can be I'm a warrior. I'm a this. It's like it's the same game.
It's
like
you don't. With RPG elements, but it makes you an RPG.
It's an adventure game with art. It's like an adventure game with like an RPG like tendencies, but it's like it kind of just you don't actually do these things. It's not the same.
Yeah, and then Sea of Stars is a fantastic like homage to like Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger and like those like SNES style JRPGs. So again, a completely different category from an action JRPG. And then Starfield is a Bethesda RPG, which is its own thing. So we end up with 5 RPGs that are really all 5 very different genres just smashed together into RPG. When I feel like there should have been at least 2 different categories, one of like, I guess classic or like traditional RPG, and then one action RPG, or I don't know. I don't know what the name of the newer one would be, but I feel like at least 2 categories would have been able to really show everything that.
Maybe like RPG inspired action. I don't know.
I don't know because yeah, like I said, Diablo 4. That's more of an RPG than Lies of P is. Octopath Traveler 2, that's in the same vein as the Sea of Stars, so why is that not here? Like, yet Starfield, even my roommate who loves Bethesda games, like that doesn't deserve to be here. So, I don't know. And again, it's one of those things where the one that's up for game of the year is gonna win. Like,
It's just kind of here to give it more categories to win.
yeah, like it definitely is. I'm not knocking it at all. Like, it is definitely the best RPG to come out this year. Like, you do pick a class, you do level up and stuff, but I feel something like Sea of Stars, which is incredible, should kind of have its own category away from this game that is completely different. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna vote for Sea of Stars. The Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Best action adventure game.
Oh boy.
This is the Vegas category for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. It's like, oh, it's a game where you go and do stuff.
I mean, when you say it like that, yeah, that's pretty much every game ever.
Like, yeah, I guess survival horror and character action and open world survival and whatever Jedi Survivor is, I guess those are all the same category. I don't know.
I mean, I guess. I mean, it is a super broad category that kind of just like encompasses pretty much every game that's not like, you know, Uno. But it's
Like Starfield. Starfield is a action
yeah,
adventure
no, I
game.
mean that's what I'm saying. Like Starfield, I mean, it's weird because every game is basically an action adventure game now.
Uh,
Because who wants to play a game that does not have action or adventure?
right.
So it's kind of basically just like a pseudo game of the year category, but they don't put all the game of the year games in it. So it's just
Right.
kind of
Like
like
we're gonna throw Jedi Survivor in here just to throw it a bone, but these other
kind
four
of.
games, those are in running for Game of the Year. So, uh, yeah, and Alan Wake 2. I feel like it came out too recently to really be in the running seriously. It's I've heard it be compared to, although it is very good. I've heard it be compared to like it's kind of like an Oscar bait game where it's like very like it's the writing is very very good. The gameplay itself is still pretty solid, but like the writing is very good. It's very meta. Like essentially, it's about this writer who's like so lost in what he's doing that like his fiction is becoming his reality, and he has to like him and his character have to like start surviving the same stuff, but it's actually all in his mind. It's very
Oh
good. It's
gosh,
written very well,
but
but I don't know. I just feel like these other games just have more brand recognition and just people have
oh,
experienced them
definitely.
longer. Have you? You haven't touched Spider-Man 2, have you?
I haven't actually. I mean, I haven't played this spot. I haven't played it. I've
Right.
watched the whole game on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
though.
Pretty solid.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like that. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, Spider-Man 2 is apparently pretty good.
It's
Resident Evil
it's
4.
very good.
Resident Evil 4, we know that's great. It's been the greatest game of all time since it came out in like 2004 or whatever it did. And it's been released, I want to say conservatively, it's been released 6 times over the years.
Seriously?
GameCube originally, then it got a port to PS2, then it got a Wii port, then it got a PC port, then it got an Xbox and PS4 port, then it got a port to Switch. Now it got remade for the PS5 and Xbox One, or Series X. So yeah,
Series X. Yeah.
it got ported at least 6 times. So like we know this game exists. We know this game is great. It's had its flowers. I don't know if it needs to win this category right now.
This is the one it needs to go over the hump.
Like, like I don't know. I feel like is it wrong for me to feel like remakes generally shouldn't be in the running for certain categories? Like it's already been judged, and unless you change it dramatically, like Final Fantasy did, I don't really know if you. I don't know.
I think it depends because it's kind of like the movie remake thing. Because it's kind of like if it already got serious acclaim originally, you don't really need like the remake doesn't really need to get judged, I feel like. But if it's like the original kind of either wasn't really known of or kind of like they, like you said, change it dramatically or something, then it's like, okay, yeah, we did rejudge it. But in this case, I mean, it's kind of like the GTA 5 thing. It's like we know what GTA 5 is. Like I know it's been on every console for the last 10 years, but
literally
we don't need to. We don't need to. Like we know where we're at.
Yeah, like it's different from Resident Evil 2 and 3, which are PS1 games. When those got remade, like the entire game, the game's perspective got changed. Like you no longer have tank controls. You're no longer like you just move differently. The enemies are different. Like the game is basically a different game, just called Resident Evil 2. Like the plot is the same, pretty more or less, but like how you go through it is very different. Whereas here, because Resident Evil 4 was already basically flawless from the jump, it just looks prettier. Like again, and not knocking the game is again, like I said, one of the greatest games of all time. But I don't know. I just feel like other games that like are new this year deserve to be looked at a higher regard than a game that we already know is fantastic. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All I have to say, I'm voting for Zelda.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's probably gonna be Zelda or Spider-Man. And two, like it's in my opinion, it's one of those two. It's gonna actually win because I mean,
that you remind me of something. I feel like every single year there is one video game that just gets completely shafted. Every single year, it's like, oh, you're one of the greatest games of all time if you released any other year.
Right.
In 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn was that game, but in every category it's in, oh, Breath of the Wild is also there. In 2018, Spider-Man for PS4, like you're fantastic, but you're not God of War or Red Dead 2.
Red 2, and then it's like, ooh,
oh yeah, I am totally the best action adventure game this year. No, you're not God of War. So like, what are you doing?
It's like normally yes, but this time no.
Same thing last year with Horizon Forbidden West. It's like if you get your second chance to be the greatest game of the year, Elden Ring, shut up. What are you doing? And also, the category it did when God of War won. So like you're not even in the conversation. So
right.
I have a feeling this year every single category that Spider-Man is in, Zelda and or Baldur's Gate will be in. So just that just might be the game this year that just gets nothing.
That's that's crazy, dude. I mean, it's like. Especially to be Zelda again. Like, it's just like, really?
Sony just can't catch a break.
Right? It's like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? It's going to be like Spider-Man 3, and then it's like, new Breath of the Wild. It's just like, bro.
Right.
Also, which is funny because again, Zelda was originally supposed to come out last year,
and it would have been fighting against Horizon again and Elden Ring or whatever. So like, either way, you just Sony can't win.
It just can't win. It's just it's just not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm voting for Zelda. It could easily be any of these games. I don't think Jedi Survivor. It's apparently a pretty good game, but it's I don't.
Same think issue. It's not gonna.
I think, any of these games could win. I'm not like super attached to this category, but I'm voting for Zelda since that's the one that I've played. I need to beat it, but it's the one that I've played.
Same. I mean, I'm same thing. I'm like the same thing. I'm in the same boat. Like I've already completed all the areas. I got the Master Sword. I've got like the things, but it's like I feel like going to Ganon is like the last thing you have to do. Like you do all the side quests, you get all the things, and then it's like, okay, now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, so.
Because after you beat them, there's not much post-game content.
Right. There's no real incentive to do anything else. You kind of feel done.
Yeah,
so it's like
I put 160 hours of this into this game. Why can't I do more? There's no more game left to play.
Is there any news of DLC?
Back over the summer, they said there's no current plans to release DLC, but
But that's free money.
Nintendo has said stuff before and then just been like, "Oh, actually, not that." So, so if there's no DLC announced at the Game Awards, that is not happening. Unless it's like, oh, during the Switch 2's reveal, actually, like a complete edition with extra content or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I'm like, I don't know. I feel like you could just like, I don't know, add another sky, just make a bigger
Mm-hmm.
sky, like a second sky, like kind
Yeah,
of thing.
or
Like,
like
yeah, just
have a
go for it.
whole like deeper depths, have like a whole
Yeah,
dungeon down
deeper
there.
depth. That's what, basically, yeah. I mean, that's, I don't know. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
at this point, you could just make a bigger sandwich kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, or like have an entire zone dedicated to Zelda in the past where you play as her. Like, I don't know. I feel like
Oh,
there are
that'd be
ways you could do it.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, hopefully, I want DLC. I want to play more of the game, but if they're content, if they put everything they feel they can put into it, then whatever. But I would like DLC. Yeah. Okay. Next, we go from the go places and do stuff category to the just don't do stuff category.
And I like how it's completely different games too. I think
Right.
that's the funniest part. Like these other games aren't action games.
Like they I don't know. It's weird. Like I guess because Armored Core 6 is a game where it's like a chapter system, so it's not like an open world adventure game. At high, I guess I don't know how they categorize these things, but whatever.
I'm thinking,
Um,
it made no
yeah,
sense.
Armored Core 6, which is one of those games that because this year was just so crazy, Armored Core 6 just like came and went, which is insane. People have been asking for a new Armored Core from Software for years, and you think off the back of Elden Ring, which was one of the most successful games ever last year, it just a new FromSoft game. Oh, you released the same month as Diablo or as Baldur's Gate, or at least close to it. So you just kind of buy it, like no one really cares about you anymore. Like okay,
Bye.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Dead Island 2. I've heard it's as good as the first one. Ghost Runner 2. Ghost Runner is one of those games I know for a fact I would love. I think it's was it 2D or is it first person? Regardless, it's like a platformer game where you play as a cool ninja with a sword. I'm sure it's good. Um, Hi-Fi Rush. I have played a pretty good amount of this game. It's like a very fun action rhythm game. Very fun. Remnant 2,
Rhythm
another game
game.
I know almost nothing about, but what I have heard about it is very good.
Hmm.
Um, I think Remnant 2 actually could be like a sleeper, like a sleeper winner here.
Really? Okay.
Again, I haven't even really seen any gameplay of it, but what I have heard of people that have played it, it was apparently a very very good game. I think it comes down between that and Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is one of the highest rated games of the year. It just came out so early that people just kind of forgot about it.
Hmm.
Um, and from what I played of it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So, yeah, I'm voting for that personally.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. Best VR AR. Um, Gran Turismo 7 apparently had a VR mode. Horizon, again, sorry, you just never get anything. Humanity is a fun little game where you play as a dog and you like lead humans around to do stuff. I don't,
Interesting.
I don't really get it, but it's I don't really know why it's VR, but it is. Um, Resident Evil Village VR mode. I don't know why that wasn't there to begin with, but the fact that you play Resident Evil 8 in VR is cool. And then
Hmm.
Synapse, I haven't actually heard of that game. So I think personally, I think Resident Evil is going to win this.
Yeah, I mean, the name brand alone gives it a lot of leeway in a category where there's not another like
Mm,
big, like well-known thing.
right.
And also, I mean, voting on VR stuff, I don't think people are like super like, no, it has to be this. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Like I'm sure there's always in every group there's one guy who's really into racing games, so maybe he'll vote for like
Hmm.
shout as loud as he can for Gran Turismo. But I think Resident Evil has it. Okay. Next, best mobile game.
Oh boy,
I don't know. I don't care.
I forgot mobile games existed.
uh, Honkai Star Rail is an RPG by the same guys that make Genshin Impact, and apparently the people who have played it is like it's a gotcha, but it's a really good gotcha. So,
What does that mean?
it's a if you're willing to spend a lot of money for digital things, it's very good. So I don't know. Terra Nil is also one of those that kind of feels like Oscar bait, where it's like there's not really a lot of game to it, but it's very atmospheric and very like I don't know, feel good, I guess. So I have a feeling that might win, just because people who vote for these kind of things like games like that. But
Hmm.
I don't know, Final Fantasy. Why not? Definitely not going to be the Hello Kitty game.
I mean, you never know.
Okay. Best debut indie game. I've heard a lot of fantastic things about Cocoon. It's a top-down, like a little. I think it might be Metroidvania, but I know it's like top-down adventure game. Very good.
Ooh.
Pizza Tower is a bonkers game. If you
It
know,
looks like a bonkers game.
yeah, it's basically like a spiritual successor to the Wario Land games on the Game Boy and whatnot.
Ah,
Like very
interesting.
similar, like cartoony physics and just like he literally runs like does similar moves to Wario. Actually the month they came out, it blew up Twitch. Everyone was playing it. Just a lot of fun. I know nothing about Venba. I just never heard of it. Viewfinder is a fun game where like you essentially take pictures and like position them in certain ways, and then that picture like becomes reality, and you like go into the picture, and it's like you solve puzzles that way. It's
Hmm.
it's pretty interesting, but I think either Cocoon or Pizza Tower will win. Um, I think Pizza Tower looks more fun, so I'm gonna go Pizza Tower. But if I had to like actually bet on something, I think I would bet on Cocoon.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. It's just from what I've seen and what I've seen other people say, people just love that game. But although because there is this fan vote aspect and more people have actually played Pizza Tower, that might edge it out. But yeah,
It's we'll have to see.
uh, best indie game, which is different from best debut indie game.
I
Like
guess that makes sense.
yeah, although I don't really know why. Okay, like I guess Cocoon and Dredge were just so good, and Viewfinder were just so good that they had to be on both. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna vote for Sea of Stars. Again, that's a really really good RPG. I think it should even win the RPG category if Baldur's Gate 3 weren't there. Um, but again, I think Cocoon might. It's another thing where Annapurna Interactive is also like just very prestigious indie studio. So I think they just again brand recognition they might get it.
Hmm.
Best community support is a weird category this
Yeah, I
year.
don't really know. I mean, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know why Baldur's
What? Like how well the game was like tweeted? Like I'm so
I
confused.
don't know why
Like
Baldur's Gate is here because
to give it more categories. Let's be
but it
real.
doesn't need it because these other four games, three of them, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, and No Man's Sky, they released in a just messy situation. Cyberpunk came out in 2020, and I'm sure you saw the memes. It was buggy. The
Oh yeah.
entire areas won't load right. Just the car mechanics didn't work. Like just it was a mess. But over time, it got a lot better. No Man's Sky, same thing. There was almost no content. It was super buggy. Like it was just but over time, it got a lot better. Final Fantasy 14, literally, they rebooted the game like mid. Like you can't really do that successfully to an MMO, but they did, and it is now one of one of the greatest MMOs of all time. And the Destiny 2 was also there.
And also, Destiny 2 is here.
So I don't know why Baldur's Gate 3 is in this category. I know it's a very good game, and we should give it props for releasing as well as it did. Like the game this big with this much cutscene and dialogue and character interactions and just all the different things that could go wrong, and it releasing in the state that it did, which is basically flawless, should be commended. But I don't know why it's in the same category as these other things. So, I'm gonna say Cyberpunk just because I feel like these other three have had, they've all had wins in various categories before, either best ongoing or best online game or whatever. So I think Cyberpunk deserves it for just how the community, how the developers responded to complaints and actually updated over time. So
that's fair.
Yeah. And then basically the same category but different people. Best ongoing game. I think
Fortnite.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That's my thing. It's I joking, but I'm kind of not.
Yeah, it's it had this game. It apparently they at some point in the recent years it destroyed the old map and had a whole new map that you fought on, and then earlier this month they reverted back to the old map for this new thing, and it had its biggest single day of play it's ever had. So clearly people are still playing this game and it's getting constant updates and constant crossovers and stuff. So maybe it deserves it. I don't know.
I mean, it kind of does. I mean, it kind of wins in all phases because it's the most name recognizable.
Yeah,
it's definitely still popular. It still happened. And like you said, they have been actively updating. Like you said, that original map update was huge. I mean, people I didn't even know played Fortnite were talking about it. So I'm just it's like that.
My brother, my brother, who's a teacher who teaches sophomores in high school, he literally after class one day was told one of his students who he knew was falling behind. It was I just need to remind you, this big assignment is due on Monday. Let's make sure make sure you're aware it needs to be turned in. And he's this kid, this child, 13, 14-year-old, literally was I don't know, the new Fortnite season's dropping this weekend, so we'll see if I get it done. It's this isn't a...
Told your teacher that?
He literally told my brother that. I don't know if I will prioritize this video game over this project.
I mean, I relate to that, but I don't think I would tell my teacher that. That's me being hey man, this project's due this weekend. I'm ooh, isn't this the weekend Spider-Man 2 comes out?
Right.
Yeah, I'm probably not coming in on Monday. What? You just you're just gonna tell your teacher yeah, I'm not doing your schoolwork.
Kind of related. There's this legendary press conference that Obama gave in 2015, and the press conference. I don't even think the context of it matters, but it wasn't super important. But it was still it was a weekly conference thing, and it was at the end of it. He was sorry to cut it short. I'm gonna go see Star Wars. Respect. Respect.
No, I mean, like, honestly, like, I mean, that would be me as a president. I'd be like, hang on, guys, I gotta see what this thing's all about.
Oh, oh, Pokemon came out, so busy this weekend. Sorry.
Right? Foreign policy can wait.
Yep. See, I guess Fortnite. I guess I don't know. If for no other reason than the fan vote, so many people have played it, they're going to vote for Fortnite. So even if the judges think something else, I think Fortnite will just win based on the amount of people voting for it.
Definitely.
Games for Impact is a weird category that is weirdly defined. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
What does that mean?
It's like if the game has like relatable themes, I guess. I don't essentially like I don't want to get political or whatever, but essentially it's like if there's a gay person in it, or if first someone is dealing with depression and that's the game, I guess representation doesn't matter, but like it's, and I don't know, I wish the description were a little more specific about what exactly they're looking for. Because again, all of these are very different games. Like, yes, they are all like thought provoking and like promote certain messages, but like, I don't. It's a bunch of games that no one really played that fall in this ill-defined category that I guess we should celebrate, but I don't really know why. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that.
Like I'm not even really gonna vote for this because I haven't heard of any of these. I technically heard of Goodbye Volcano High because it was in some Sony press conference, but it looked weird, so I just kind of ignored it.
Fair.
So I'm just gonna continue. Innovation and accessibility. Now this one, I also think is a little ill-defined, although it's something that we definitely should promote within the gaming community. Especially Nintendo needs to get on this because a lot of people are disabled in certain ways. Either they're colorblind, or they only have they like can't like or like they can't play a game unless they can map the buttons a certain way, or just like there's certain other things that different games have done to like just make their game available to play with as many people as possible can play it. And I think that is something we should celebrate. However,
I agree.
I don't really know what these games did specifically. I kind of, especially in this category, I feel they should highlight what Diablo did, what Hi-Fi Rush did specifically. Like, I know that Street Fighter did a fantastic thing where there's essentially like a simplified version of the controls where even if you want to still do these combos, but you're not like, but you haven't, if you still want to play the game but haven't really played a fighting game before, you can turn on the simplified mode and still more or less have parity with people who are professionals.
Right.
And I appreciate that. Hi-Fi Rush has a mode where I think there's a color blindness mode, but also there's a mode where if you're deaf or just cannot play rhythm games, you can just essentially turn off the rhythm aspect of it, and it basically plays just like a character action game. And I like that a lot because I'm decent at rhythm games, but just later on in the game, I literally had to turn that mode on just to keep up with the game itself. So I appreciate that. Again, people who usually can't play the game, like especially for rhythm games, like, oh, we want people who are deaf or hard of hearing, whatever, to be able to play this game. Since it is a rhythm game, we want them to be able to play it without ruining the integrity of what makes the game special. So I appreciate that. Diablo and Spider-Man, I have no idea. Literally no idea.
I mean, I don't either. I mean,
I know there's like swing
Yeah,
assist and other stuff, like no faltering.
yeah,
I
but
don't know if
that's
that does that count. I don't know if that's.
I don't think so. I mean, I think those are cool aspects, but I don't think that's like accessibility or anything. I mean, I don't. I mean, if anything, that's more like the last category. It makes it more realistic. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? I don't. As someone who doesn't own the game, I can't say for sure because I haven't actually
Mm,
gone in and looked at the settings. So there might be some
yeah,
stuff for it.
yeah. Like I'm putting my vote in a Street Fighter just because it allows people who normally don't play fighting games to be able to get into them. Like it's a gateway
Mm-hmm.
to be able to, play more of these games. Although I think
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush also deserves it, just again for having people who you normally can't play games like this, similar to Street Fighter, but like in a kind of a more. Actually, no, I've changed my mind. It's Hi-Fi Rush. People who
Just
can't,
talk yourself out of it.
yeah, for the exact same reasons, plus literally being like people who literally can't play it have the ability to play it, and I appreciate that.
Hmm.
Best performance. Again, I really wish it said who. Obviously, we know who Yuri Lowenthal played, but I wish it was like Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Monaghan as.
Well, I mean, he's in the.
Oh,
I mean, that one's pretty out. I mean, at
what
least
was
it's his
it?
face in
Looks
that
like
one.
him. Yeah. What is that character?
Yeah.
Cal Kestis. Yeah, Cal Kestis. But
Yeah.
like Ben Starr as the guy from Final Fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
I mean, on the one hand, though, you could argue that, like, I mean, this is the Game Awards, so, like, it's kind of assumed you probably know, or at least you should, kind of. But
yeah, but just
yeah, I see.
give them
I see your point.
recognition for playing Spider-Man well, or
That is true. That is true. When they give you the Oscar, they tell you what movie the person was in.
right. Like I know Ben Starr specifically was like super heavy advertising, like he is in this game, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if Neil Newborn was doing the same for Baldur's Gate. He did a fantastic performance as the main character of that game, but like if you played that game and didn't really pay attention to the credits and saw, oh, Neil Newborn, I don't know who he played, but I recognize Yuri Lowenthal, or I recognize Ben Starr, or I recognize Idris
Right.
Elba, you know, you know. Apparently, I've heard they've all did fantastic, but I like Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, and especially in this game, especially with like the like symbiote
Mm.
stuff too. I mean, the voice acting definitely was very solid.
Oh yeah,
Like, I was definitely a fan.
yeah. So it's probably gonna be the guy from Baldur's Gate, but any of these could win.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard even the lady from Alan Wake 2 did a fantastic job. So yeah, any of them could win. I like Spider Man.
yeah, yeah. Voice acting in general has just gotten better, just in games,
Mm.
shows, etc.
Oh yeah. Best audio design, which is different from best soundtrack. Recognition in the best in-game audio and sound design. So, again, Spider-Man, why are you here? It's like, sorry, but you're not going to win this category. Like, like it's one of those things where we have a rhythm game and then three uh, survival horror games, which live and die by their sound design.
Right.
Especially Dead Space when it first came out back in 2006 or whatever, back in the Xbox. Like it was like known, like it was like one of the most atmospheric experiences to like be on this isolated ship and like you hear something come around the corner and you're like you just these survival horror games, like it's like their whole deal. And then a rhythm game, which again, if the audio design is bad and you don't know when to hit the button like to do the combos, like that's bad. So again, I'm sure Spider-Man the flip sounds great, but I just don't feel like it's in the right if it competes with these
Yeah.
other games.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry. No.
Nah, that wasn't important.
Okay. I'm gonna vote for Hi-Fi Rush. I think Resident Evil 4 has a pretty solid chance since it is in that and Alan Wake are in the running for Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
But it could just be that those games are overall they feel they are better games than Hi-Fi Rush, but Hi-Fi Rush did this one specific thing better that could happen. But I think
But
Resident Evil 4 Alan Wake have a higher chance of actually winning.
yeah, I agree.
Okay. Best score and music. A lot of the same people here, but
Yeah,
um, Final Fantasy always has fantastic music.
it
Um,
does.
apparently, the music of Alan Wake is pretty good. Same with Baldur's Gate. Tears of the Kingdom, the music that is there is very, very good. Like,
Mhm.
like the like main theme is fantastic, but I don't know. I feel like it kind of has a similar issue to Breath of the Wild, where like, when you're just walking around the world or in a town, the music is just a little monotonous, a little like, I don't know. It's not as good as I feel. It's not as iconic throughout as I feel most Zelda games are.
Yeah, and it is a lot of the same from the last game too. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, does that really get points?
No, I don't. I don't think it should even be in this category.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the one music when it is used
Mm-hmm.
is good, but,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's
but
like mostly just kind of you listen for like the sounds of the world more than the music.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Hi-Fi Rush should take this very easily for two reasons. One, it's a rhythm game, so if the music isn't good, then the game falls apart.
Right.
Two, the Game Awards typically, if there's a game that has licensed music in it, that game seems to have a bump. In this game, the bosses of this game are set to like actual rock songs.
Cool.
I can't remember any. I know there's a Nine Inch Nails song. I think there's a. I can't remember any other examples, but I know there are like actual like, you know, like popular songs in this for bosses, and I think that might put it over the edge.
Mm.
So that's what I'm voting for.
Yeah, sure, good.
Yeah. Okay, a few more categories left. Art direction. Again, I don't want to be rude, but why is Zelda here?
I mean, it looks very
It
nice.
does, but so did the last game, and most of the assets are the same. Like it is absolutely one of the best games ever made, but I wouldn't say that its art direction is what it is like. What it is like is what it's
Strives
good at.
for.
Yeah. Whereas like Liza P looks very very good. If you're into the like rustic England aesthetic, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, that like can get crazy. Like already the game looks fantastic, but when like you get into the like each stage has like a wonder seed moment where like the game can completely change perspective, or like elements can be added, and like it can like goes like upside down, or like goes all black and white. Like there's a lot of things that can change about it that make it just visually very very good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Alan Wake 2, again, it's just very very solid in that way. But I really like the aesthetics of Hi-Fi Rush. Um, I personally prefer cartoony aesthetics to like photorealistic. Um, so it's one of those things where I think Alan Wake 2 could be a sleeper win here, but I'm going to vote Hi-Fi Rush.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just I feel like, I mean, especially art is like very subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's kind of more how you feel.
Right. Best narrative. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2. I have a bit of an issue here. So first, I don't love how an expansion is nominated here, because
Mm, well,
I can't think of another time when an expansion to a game that came out years ago is in the running. Because
it does
if
feel weird.
if that is the case, then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 had an expansion this year that was incredible. So that probably should have been in the RPG category, but it wasn't. But now we get the best story and an expansion to a game that already came out. When there's a bunch of other games that also have good stories came out this year that maybe deserve. Again, I don't really know much about that specific story. Maybe the story was just so good they had to put it here. But I don't know. It's kind of in a similar way. I feel like remakes shouldn't necessarily, unless they like, just do something out and out, just absolutely incredible. I don't know. I feel a little weird about that being here. But regardless,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think it comes down to Baldur's Gate 3 or Alan Wake. Just, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win, considering you basically are playing D&D. If the story of your campaign is bad, you're not going to want to keep playing.
Right.
So, but like I said, Alan Wake 2 has a very interesting narrative where you're playing the game, but also it's like the guy is basically writing the game as you're playing it, which is very cool and very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be Baldur's Gate 3. Not to say that Spider-Man or Final Fantasy have bad stories or whatever, but like it's one of these two, and I think it's Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and like you said, I feel like if that kind of game it doesn't work, then it's like the whole thing doesn't work if it doesn't like the story is not compelling.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Second to last category, which is basically the Game of the Year category.
Yeah, because it's like
game direction.
Game direction? I mean, doesn't that imply it's just the best game? Like, how would a game win best game direction but not win Game of the Year? You know what I mean?
It hasn't happened. It doesn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the categories are synonymous. It's like
pretty much, yeah. Like maybe I'm trying to think. Maybe in 2019, Death Stranding won best game direction, but then Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice won Game of the Year somehow. That maybe happened, but I know every single other year, if you're following the categories, like I know 2018 specifically was a big upset because Red Dead Redemption 2 won almost every single category, even ones it should not have won. Like, sure, the soundtrack was great, but there were other games that year that were really good soundtracks. Like, it won every single category, and then God of War got best game direction. It was like, oh, God of War is going to be the game of the year, and then it was. Like, you can only win one other category, and you're the best game of the year. You don't have the best narrative, you don't have the best art direction, you don't have the best story, but you have the best direction, and that means you win the game of the year. Like, okay.
Yeah. Again, direction is one of those terms that's just kind of like, really?
Like, creative
Like,
vision and innovation in game design and direction. Like, I could easily see it being a situation where if enough people on the voting team have played Alan Wake 2, they might think that just the way that game is constructed is so innovative that they might want to give it to that. I think it's between that, Baldur's Gate 3, and Zelda. And I don't think it's Zelda. I appreciate so much about what that game did. I think just the fact that they got the fuse mechanic and the ascension and
so good,
and all of that to work so flawlessly.
And the different levels too, with the depths and the sky islands. Like,
yeah,
it's like it blows so well. It'd feel crazy to not have them now. You know?
Right. Like that. I don't know if those gameplay decisions, I don't know if that falls into this category. I don't know what exactly what are the tally marks they need to check before it's like the best game direction. I know Breath of the Wild won this category in 2017, and considering this is just a better version of that game, theoretically,
right,
it should just win, I guess. But But these other games also have great direction in their own right. So I don't know. This like
It's a
this
toss up.
yeah, it's a toss up between any of these three. Not to knock Mario, but it's Mario. Not it's Mario. And Spider-Man, again, I'm sure you're great, but you're not Zelda or Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Sorry. Um, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna vote for Zelda because I love that game.
Yeah.
But this, like, unlike in 2017, when the biggest competition was like Nier Automata and Horizon and Persona 5, which are all fantastic. I feel like the caliber of Alan Wake 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 in this way are not better, but they're just. I feel it's more what the people who are voting this year are looking for. It's more what they are looking for than what they were in 2017. So
Mm.
this one's gonna be a very interesting category because whatever wins that category wins Game of the Year. And clearly, Resident Evil 4 was not in the last category, so it's not going to win. But yeah, the Game of the Year contenders are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Mario Wonder, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like we said last category. It's like there's definitely a lot of great games here, but it's also like, well, the way I see it, it's like, well, Zelda, what I mean? It's like Zelda's like really good. The last one was amazing, and this one's like, yeah, let's do that, and then just do kind of everything better. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, okay, well, that's kind of not fair.
Yeah.
But also, Baldur's Gate comes out of nowhere is also kind of let's just do everything everyone likes about this type of game and
Mm-hmm.
just put it up to 11. It's like, well, that's also not fair.
Yep.
And it's like, it's really a toss up. I'm interested to see how it resolves this time.
Like, obviously, I'm voting for Zelda.
Yeah.
I love that game, but I'm not gonna be super broken up about it if it loses because Breath of the Wild did win in 2017. Um, like, like we all know it's fantastic. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's a shame that it didn't win when even though it is better than the game that won in 20. It's like God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok is a sequel to a game that won Game of the Year in 2018. It's better in nearly every way, but just there were other games that came out in this year that just I don't know, like other games deserve to shine as well. So I'm not
Mm.
going to be super broken up if Zelda doesn't win. I want it to win, but Baldur's Gate 3 is kind of a game that the industry needs right now. Like it came out in a basically flawless state. It's technically an indie game, which is interesting, because Valerian they're not owned by any major studio. They're not like heavily funded or anything. They're just like they're a pretty small team. The fact that they're able to pump out a game this big and have it be this good, maybe that should be praised. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting show this year. Um, yeah, hopefully at some point during that show, Tears of the Kingdom DLC gets announced.
That would be awesome.
Yes. Okay, so is there anything else you want to bring up, discuss before we sign off today?
I don't think so. I think we're ready.
All right, so with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.